Today we'll talk more about bar graphs. There are two types of bar graphs. There are horizontal bar graphs. They have bars going horizontally. And there are vertical bar graphs that have bars going vertically. Let's start looking at our horizontal bar graph. And you have this page in your math notebook if you want to mark up as I go or look on as I'm talking about it. It's page 237. So the first thing I do when I look at a graph, you might remember this from reading a picture graph, is I want to read the title, the categories, and see if there's a key. The title of this bar graph is Coins in My Collection. So all of the data on this graph is talking about different types of coins. And on the side we have categories: United States, Canada, Mexico, Japan, India. So those are going to be the different types of coins. A bar graph usually doesn't have a key, but it has something that we call a scale instead. And we can see the scale on the bottom. You'll notice that the scale starts in the corner at 0 because when this is colored in, this first line shows 1. If this showed 1, that wouldn't really make any sense because if you colored in this box here, this would be at 2 and it's really only 1, so that wouldn't make sense. So you got to start at 0 just like on a ruler and then move up in increments. You can count by ones. Some bar graphs count by other things, but this one counts by ones. Let's talk about this bar graph. How many coins from the United States do I have? Well, we can look at the length of the bar to figure out the number of coins. Okay, so I see that this bar goes all the way to the 10. So I have 10, or there are 10 United States coins in the collection. How many coins from Canada do they have? You go ahead and figure that out and write the number next to the bar. You should have said that Canada has 4 coins because the bar goes up to the line. That's 4. You could also count how many spaces are colored in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 coins from Canada. Let's go ahead and write the number of coins next to each bar. That's going to make it easier for us to be able to answer questions about the graph. So I look at Mexico, 8, Japan, 4, India, 3. Now I'm all ready to answer questions about this graph. One question about this graph might be, how many more coins are from the United States than Canada? To answer that, you'd look at the number of coins from the United States, 10, and then look from Canada, 4, and find the difference. The difference would be 6. There are 6 more coins from the United States. You could also count the amount of space that's different. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 more coins from the United States. If I were to write a comparison statement for this graph, a comparison statement is a greater than or less than statement. So let's say I wanted to write a greater than statement. Mexico, there are 4 more coins from Mexico than from Canada. There is 1 more coin from Japan than India. Both of those are greater than statements because there are statements that tell how many more one category has than another. You could do less than statements too. India has 1 fewer coin than Japan in the collection. All right, let's move on to a vertical bar graph and work on reading that. So I'm going to look at the same things. First, the title, flowers in my garden. So this graph's going to show us all about different types of flowers. I see the different types of flowers down here, and I see the scale that goes up the side and it starts at 0. The first thing I'm going to do is figure out how many of each. Roses goes up to 7. Now you can write the number there, or you can write it right on top of the bar. I think it's a little easier to read when you write it right on top of the bar. Daisies, there are 4. Violets, 8. Tulips, 6. And lilies, 3. Now I'm ready to answer questions about the vertical bar graph. You can ask a comparison question about the graph. You might ask, how many more violets are there than lilies? That's a comparison question. You're asking someone to compare the amounts from 2 different categories. You could ask that same question in a different way by saying, how many fewer lilies are there